Hi, my name's Russ Townsend, and I've been doing vendor finance since 2004. Recently, I created a set of compliance systems specifically designed and tailored for small businesses in the vendor finance industry. I'm doing this video to walk you through all the main features and give you an inside look. But first, let's just make sure this is relevant to you. You currently hold an Australian credit license, or you're serious about getting one. You run a small vendor finance business on your own with just a few people. You know that compliance with the credit code is serious business, and you do follow what you can as far as you know, but you're not totally sure about everything you're supposed to be doing, and you haven't really had the time so far to get right into it. If that describes the position you're in, I'm sure you'll be very interested in the rest of this video and pleased with what you're about to hear. We've already done all the hard work for you and created the system you need to stay totally on top of compliance. That's what it's all about with RetroRocket Compliance. Welcome to the Essential Systems and Support Program for managing your compliance with the credit code, designed specifically for you. Now, the market has gone through some significant changes in recent years. The National Consumer Credit Protection Act has been in place now since 2010, and it's definitely here to stay. Compliance with the credit code is serious business, and ASIC is taking their responsibility to enforce the code very seriously. In fact, they've ramped up their numbers to do just that. And that means that we in the vendor finance industry must take this very seriously as well, because the consequences of non-compliance, if anyone gets caught out, can be very serious indeed, as we have seen with some recent examples. There is no longer any room in this industry for the Lone Ranger cowboy type. That time is over, and ASIC is tightening the noose. The way of the future in the vendor finance industry is with appropriate and adequate compliance systems. So here's the main challenge. According to ASIC, credit licensees must have compliance measures in place which are documented as a written plan, fully implemented, monitored and reported upon, and regularly reviewed and kept up to date. And that's the challenge. It's not enough to just have your compliance documentation. You actually have to do stuff regularly and ongoing, and it must be documented so you can prove that you've done it. If you've got your credit license already, I'm sure you have some documentation already somewhere. But if you don't read them, don't know what they say, don't understand them, don't know what to do, well, it's pretty much useless. On the other hand, reading the credit code and all the regulatory guides from ASIC, it's a lot of hard work, and it's kind of complicated, and believe me, very time consuming as well. And it's kind of frustrating because, well, let's face it, it doesn't really make us any money, when what you really want to be doing is getting out there and creating the business. So this is what things look like at the moment. We've got a whole bunch of small and micro business operators struggling along with it individually, doing the best we can, but not necessarily doing a very good job at it. And each individual, to whatever degree, will be more or less duplicating the same work to create the same sorts of compliance systems, which overall doesn't make a lot of sense. What I believe makes more sense is to have one centralized body who can specialize in compliance, and then all the individual businesses can outsource the work to them and get the systems and support they need. And that's why I created RetroRocket Compliance. So when I set out to do this, I used two simple rules to guide me. Number one, the system had to be as simple as possible with no unnecessary steps or paperwork. They should suit the nature, scale, and complexity of the business. And since our business structures are usually at the simplest level with just a couple of people, we have every reason to keep our compliance systems as simple as possible. So for me, this means doing just the bare minimum to remain compliant and eliminating anything which is unnecessary. Number two, everything must be broken down into simple step-by-step instructions in the form of templates, checklists, and forms. So you don't have to spend time scratching your head figuring out what to do or how to interpret the instructions, and the necessary framework for recording everything is already there as well. Now, if you've had any experience at all with a company's policy and procedure manuals, you'll know that very often they don't become a living part of the business systems, and unfortunately, after all the hard work of carefully creating and documenting them, they eventually become neglected and forgotten on some shelf or file somewhere in the corner. And the reason for this is in no small part due to how well they are structured and designed to be user-friendly. They are often just as boring and dry to read as legal documentation. The policies, procedures, processes, and templates are all jumbled together, and so it becomes inaccessible and hard to find what's relevant to you, what you need to know and what you have to do, so you end up having to dig through them to find what you want. They tend to be way too wordy with long descriptions rather than using instantly recognizable visual diagrams, and they are often not immediately clear and need further interpretation, so even after reading them, the reader still doesn't know exactly what's expected and needs to have things further explained to them. And they often lack sufficient props, that is, forms, templates, and checklists, to visually guide you through the procedures and keep a record of your work. And they should be designed so that what to do, when to do, and how to do is immediately understandable. So this is what we've created at RetroRocket Compliance in order to support the industry, which everyone can benefit from. Step 1, I've looked at the credit code and all the guides from ASIC and worked out that there are just 16 procedures that you need in order to be compliant in running your business. And we've extracted them all out separately so you can focus on exactly what to do. Then step 2, we have visually organized them into a front-end dashboard overview that shows you at a glance what to do and when to do. We recommend our participants to pin these up on their office wall so they have them always in front of them. Step 3, wherever there are step-by-step processes, we have created visual representations in diagrams and flowcharts. Sometimes that's all you need to remind you where to go and what to do next, especially if you've been through the process before and already read the detailed instructions. You can just refer back to these for a quick reminder on where to go and what to do next. Step 4, we have compressed all the regulatory guides and relevant sections of the code into a concise form in the Compliance Handbook. It contains all the policies, and for each procedure it tells you what to do, why to do, who to do, and when to do. The specifics on how to do is covered in the procedure templates. Step 5, each procedure is converted into user-friendly props, forms, checklists, and templates. Forms to guide you through the procedures and create a record-keeping framework, checklists to make sure all your points are covered, and you get fill-in-the-blank letter templates for communications with clients. Step 6, wherever necessary, forms come together with step-by-step guidance, so the necessary information you need to make decisions about what to fill in is at your fingertips, not somewhere else in some other document or buried in some other folder or manual where you have to separately refer back and forth from it. The instructions are right there with the form where you need it as you're filling it in. Then, we also support you with a systems workshop, 1 day of support training where you get to spend time with your peers in the industry and benefit from hearing and learning from each other. Some of the actual work of documentation you need will be done in the classroom with the shared benefit of everyone's input through brainstorming, group work, or being paired up. So you can get through some of it a lot easier and faster. Then, for those of you who want ongoing support in your compliance management, we're providing an outsourced compliance management function to help you keep on top of it and keep on track. But that's a separate subject to be covered in more detail another time. But as you can see, a lot of work has gone into this. The whole system is designed to make it as easy as possible and as much as possible done for you. It will save you many, many hours of work trying to create the same thing. You get all the systems with all the policies, procedures, processes and props, the forms, templates and checklists. It gives you a complete framework for record keeping and reporting purposes. No need for further interpretation on what to do. No need to figure out how to structure your records. It's just like keeping a logbook of your compliance activities. Just get out your crayons and fill in the blanks. The major benefits here are peace of mind, knowing that you're on top of your compliance obligations. Really, it's just like an insurance policy. Plus, I expect it will give people more confidence in being completely professional in the way we go about business. Now you've seen how darned excellent it is, you're probably thinking it's all big dollars. But look, our aim is to give the vendor finance businesses the support they need for a reasonable price. Plus, we do provide a 100% money-back guarantee if, after doing the program, you think the systems and support are a load of old rubbish. For more information or to get your order form, click on the links below or on your screen. Thank you very much for listening and wishing you a